This episode of the Nerd Corporation podcast may contain spoilers and explicit language. Listener discretion is advised.
Hey, it's Mike Zeck, designer of the Black Suit Spider-Man, and you're listening to the Nerd Corporation podcast.
Welcome to the Nerd Corporation.
What up, everybody? It's Thursday, and you know what that means.
Ho's mad.
Ho's mad.
Hose is always mad.
Ho's
Did
mad.
did my milkshake bring the boys to the yard today?
Not today.
Fuck.
It was a little thick today.
Ah, God damn it. I always do that. It's either not thick enough, too thick.
So, I guess that raises a question for y'all. Do you like a runny milk? Like a more runny milkshake? Or do y'all like a thicker
I like them in the middle.
See, yeah, me too. I like it where it's to that point where you can suck it up a straw.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
like that's the sweet spot.
Underrated comment.
That
Yes.
is the sweet spot.
Yes. Yeah, Sonic shakes are the best in my opinion. In town, I guess.
I
yeah.
do like a Sonic shake.
If I ever go, I don't really eat shakes or anything anymore like that because it makes my tummy
Oh,
mad.
right.
But
Lots of sugar.
And dairy.
well, it's not just the diabetes thing. It's just I'll have to shit afterwards. So, but
Spicy milk irritates your
spice.
tummy.
It's so spicy.
Spicy milk.
Yeah, haven't you ever heard that Jim Gaffigan bit?
yeah.
Oh, God, I love that. Anyway, continue.
But I discovered a while ago that Charlie's has a root beer float milkshake, and it is like what the gods must.
No,
have
that thing is
made.
prime.
It's
Oh,
that
it's
place
so
right by
fucking good.
Sizzler, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
But no, it's podcast day.
Oh. I thought we were just going to
okay.
talk about shakes all
Yeah.
night. Because
We're doing a shake episode.
I'd be down. We're going to shake it up. Ah! Anyway, sorry. Continue.
Oh!
Let's just move past that. It didn't happen.
Welcome to episode 81, Civil War. No, not that one. We're going to talk about the Marvel Civil War event.
Wait, not the upcoming one or the previous one?
Either one. It's neither.
Or World War III?
That
See,
one.
that's the thing about being diabetic is I can't go. I can't get drafted.
Well, and
It's
I'm
same.
old as shit. So instead of calling it another one, we could call it neither one of them.
Yeah. No, not
It's
those.
funny, real quick. I remember after graduating, I must have like filled something out. I don't remember when it was, but I kept getting calls from like the fucking recruiting office, and I like was just like, oh my god, okay. So I finally answered the phone, and the guy was talking to me, and he was like, do you have any, like diseases? Like I don't know the wording,
Right.
but I was like, yeah, I'm diabetic. And he's like, all right, 1 second, and he comes back and he's like, so we can't accept you into any of the armed forces. And I'm like, oh shit, well, thanks for calling.
You've ruined my life.
God damn it. Click.
Too bad.
Yeah.
Actually,
I won't go to college.
one of our old guests, Jesus, who is in the United States Marine Corps, he'll be going to Iran.
No shit.
Yeah.
He's like actually going?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he
Wow.
leaves in a month, so
No fucking way. Really?
Yeah.
That's quick.
Wow.
If he doesn't RKO somebody out there,
Yeah. So he'll we wish him all the best, all the good luck.
And I ride.
But I mean he had to do it, didn't he?
You had to do it.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm not that sorry. I'm a little sorry, though.
Oh my god.
oh my poor lungs.
Motherfucker. Anyway, we wish Jesus all the best and hope he returns safely. But yeah, we're going to be talking about Civil War, the Marvel event, mutant registration and all that Good stuff. But first, let's get on to the nerd news.
Let's.
Cyberpunk has been delayed.
Everything has been delayed.
Yeah.
Every
You
goddamn...
get a delay, and you get a delay, and you get a delay.
But the Cyberpunk got delayed hella far back.
September 10th.
The year 2020 has been delayed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Officially.
Not Civil War. World War III.
Yes, World
It's
War
been
III
delayed
is delayed.
for like what the 7th or 8th time now. So.
Well, I mean, it better come out soon because I got that pre-order bonus.
yeah,
On World
And
War
I feel
III.
like the graphics are going to be gorgeous.
yeah.
See, they had to make a third one because, like, the first one was probably the best one.
Right.
The
second
story,
one-
the story was the best.
Yeah, the second one, had
They
its ups-
ramped
had its
it up.
ups.
I loved
Yeah.
the villain in
Yeah.
the second one.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's
You
every,
can't top him. You
Every
can't top that
everything
one.
nowadays is Nazis, so they had to throw the Nazis in.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't like about these ones is, the permadeath.
Yeah, yeah.
No, yeah.
I want to repatriate.
Not Fire Emblem was hard. Jesus.
Yeah, right?
Just let me repatriate.
Thank God this game got delayed. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be that douchebag. I'm so happy.
Well, I mean, for you, yeah. Well, I mean, and I understand what you're saying, like, with Final Fantasy being more and more exclusive now as far as being something on your list that you play. But I'm still kind of pissed
I
off
still
about it.
find that delay
Look.
to be very, very large. That is a huge fucking delay, especially for a game that they were so.
And especially, it's ironic, I guess is the word, because maybe not ironic, but they said, because they said that they're going into like crunch mode, and they had to do that with The Witcher 3, and they're like, we're never going into crunch mode again. It's like, well, guess what? Now you're gonna have to again.
I mean, that's kind of a standard in the gaming industry anyway.
Don't
And
read
it's-
everything. Don't. Kotaku likes to blow things out of proportion,
So-
especially Jason Schreier. He used to be very, very reliable. I don't know. Like, the whole crunch thing with Cyberpunk seems to be a little bit of a farce. Just like the little bit of reading that I've read it, like that I've done into it.
Well, I heard this from what's his name? My buddy Jeff Laughlin.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're going to be working a little. It's going to be crunch-esque.
Yeah.
But I really don't think, because I do think they got a lot of hold it.
Okay.
Hold it.
Okay.
Hold your stupid fucking jaw. Hold it. Do not say it. You do not
You
get a platform
saw his
here.
face light up real fast.
They got a lot of shit for that crunch period.
It did too. It really did.
They got a lot of shit for that crunch period with The Witcher 3.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're in a different climate now.
But
when after all these exposés of exposing crunch periods, not only with them but with Rockstar and with EA and all that, I feel like it's a different climate. I don't think it's nearly as bad as
it makes
Yeah.
me wonder how much of it they have left if they're delaying from March until April until September.
And here's the thing. I mean, like, you can totally have a crunch period, but I feel like there just have to be clear ethics in place, and you going, okay, we're gonna be doing a lot of heavy work and just pushing through this, but we also can't be violating people. And
yeah, I think, I don't know why I feel this way, but I'm getting a hunch that it's not just because the game needs more work. I'm starting to think that maybe they're pushing it because it's just a fact that games sell a lot better at the end of the year. And I'm wondering, like,
There's a shitload coming out in that time
yeah.
period too.
well, and I'm sitting here wondering, like, did they really need it though? Because like, there's a ton of fucking hype for this game alone. I don't know. I easily could have seen that be like a summer game, and being like the biggest summer game of the year. But like that boost in sales, and not only that, like there's also that's like prime time when we're starting to get super excited for the new consoles. So I'm wondering if like there's more to it than just
I
it needs
could
more
totally
polish.
see that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is cool that they're. I mean, obviously, if you're going to give yourself that amount of time, you're still going to do those things.
Yeah.
Which is, to me, we've talked about several times, Cole. As much as it sucks and it hurts, I really can't ever be mad about something being delayed. I just can't. Like, yes, please make it as fucking perfect as you possibly can.
It's like a Band-Aid.
By all means.
It's like a Band-Aid. It hurts like hell in the beginning, but once you realize that, like, now it's, it's the same thing with, and this definitely makes the hurt for FF7 go away at this point, because, like, that was my biggest concern. So now it's really only going up against Resident Evil 3, which, almost kind of, horror games are kind of a niche product by itself. Like, they don't really sell that well. They sell really well for what they are, but, like, I feel like the people that are going to buy RE3 are still going to buy RE3, but now they just have to buy, you know what I mean? Like, they're not going to make that decision between Cyberpunk and FF7, because, RE3 is a game that you can finish in like a weekend, which I fully plan on doing. I'm gonna run through that game so fucking fast, and I don't know. And I was talking to Brian about this a couple days ago. I was like, it's gonna be, because we were talking about the delay and blah blah blah, and he was like, is a week good enough for RE3? I'm like, absolutely. You do not need any more time for that, and then it'll be a nice treat to return back to it to do the platinum and all that. I feel like I'm feeling really good about it. And like I said, like we've always said, like everyone else says, like delays are never ever 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 a bad thing. Ever. Like seriously, do not give developers or the shit for delaying their game, because there's a pretty good fucking reason, and as the old adage says, and is almost cringy as it is, there is that Miyamoto quote where a delayed game is not a bad game, but a bad game is bad forever.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I still think it's fucking wild. I remember we were watching Netflix and I was like, you need to fucking pause it right now, because I need to read this. And I was like, holy fuck, I can't. It's arguably 2020's biggest game, outside of The Last of Us and Final Fantasy VII. I cannot believe it. And then like how big that delay is.
5 months.
That is so crazy, bro.
It's 5 months.
Yeah, they got hit with that Avengers delay. That's fucking ridiculous. Yeah, I don't know. I still feel like this is a very good thing. We're going to get a better game because of it, and it's going to sell better in the later half of the year.
Out of everything that's coming out, or before this got delayed, out of everything that was coming out around that time period, it was number 3 on my list.
Yeah.
Like it was going to, or maybe 4, because it was going to be Resident Evil,
FF7, The
Last of Us, and then I'll be like, okay, now that I've gotten all these, I'll get that.
I feel like that's perfect though, because right now we don't like that time period is probably when we're going to start seeing like the Call of Duties of this year and such, and probably some launch titles, which Xbox for some reason, that's another news title that we'll just briefly get into. Xbox One Series X, or Xbox Series X, right?
Yeah,
that's what it's called.
Xbox One Series X.
Will not have any exclusive titles for a year and a half.
That's
none.
Wild.
Which, what are you doing?
So does that mean that in that vein, like with their, because they were boasting that Hellblade was going to be exclusive.
Oh, that's right.
So does it just mean that it's going to be
You're
Xbox
right.
and PC, or because if
Probably
that comes to
PC.
if it comes to PS4 or whatever, PS5 by that time maybe. Then...
So maybe that's confirmation right there, Nick, is that it is coming to PS4. Because why wouldn't they? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like at that time it might be PS5, but they could still probably.
I don't know. That is a weird decision, my friend.
Because the first one's on all platforms. I think it's even on the Switch now, isn't it? Or am I wrong?
You could be wrong.
I could be wrong.
I'm
But
not
it's
sure.
on the PC, PS4, and Xbox at least now.
Honestly, though, it's not like they're going up against that much competition as far as like exclusive games for the PS5, because we've got Lord of the Rings Gollum.
Okay, keep scrolling.
Godfall. A new Blue Point Studios game.
That should be on everybody's radar. That might be a huge fucking game. Everyone's saying that it's a Demon's Souls remaster, which in the same vein as what they did for Shadow of the Colossus, which could be really fucking cool.
Watch Dogs Legion, Gods and Monsters, Rainbow Six Quarantine might be a thing. But I mean,
and like in the Call of Duties and all that shit, like Call of Duty's very obviously going to be a launch title for the new consoles, just because it's like that prime time period where it feels like it would be right to release it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, PS5, we still don't know what's going on. There's a lot of talk that maybe it's Horizon Zero Dawn 2, which might be a launch title, which is a fucking banger. Banger alert for that deal right there. Like
Bang-a-ring.
I don't know. I don't.
you can crow.
And not only that, like all the talk of backwards compatibility for these consoles, it definitely seems like that's what we're going to be playing for the majority of the time in the beginning on our new consoles.
They're
our
both
shiny new
claiming
consoles.
that they can go all the way back with backwards compatibility.
Yeah.
I know Xbox is. PlayStation is quote unquote working on it.
Yeah.
It's like work on it a little harder. Like Jesus Christ. You got PCs that can go all the way back to the fucking NES days.
It seems like anytime PlayStation looks at backward compatibility. Not compilability.
Thank you for
McGillicuddy.
It seems like they work on it for a minute and they go, this is hard, and then they just don't.
Well, I mean, it's not only that, but it's also licensing. There's a lot of licensing, like mumbo jumbo, and
That's
Right.
why.
But
That's
I mean,
why.
you can-
That's
that's
why
part of
even.
it, though.
That's why even Xbox One, you can't play every single
Right.
360 and Xbox game on it. It's because it's them. It's the
But
developers.
I mean, should it be all or nothing though?
I agree with you though. Like, I mean, first party titles should absolutely be on there, 100%, no question asked. I mean, it's preposterous to think that like I can't play the first Crash Bandicoot on my PS4.
Right.
It's
But I mean,
not remastered. It's the PS1 classic. You know what I mean? I just
Oh, yeah.
I don't understand it.
I think like with the advent of PS Now, I doubt that it's that much of a priority for them. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I mean, they paid a lot of fucking money for that streaming service. It was called Gaikai back in the day before they bought it. And I don't know. I can't help but feel like they got big things planned for PS Now. Because if they're thinking about throwing on all different generations, like what would get me excited is like PSP games. Like if they were able to do that, I fucking any amount of money. I don't care.
They'll go to announce it. They'll just bring out Tony PlayStation and be like, "There, PS Now. There's your backward compatibility. You like it?
I got your fucking backwards compatibility
Right here.
right fucking here.
Right
This fucking
here."
big.
Xbox has a more compelling platform to do that, though. I feel like they kind of... I don't really want to say they planned for it, because I wouldn't want to give them that much credit, but it definitely seems like... It seems like they kind of did, though. You know what I mean? Like the way that they're able to just say, like, hey, you remember this weird fucking title that you played in 2001 on your Xbox? Like, you can play it on your Xbox One. You know?
Now you can play Fusion Frenzy. You guys remember fucking Fusion Frenzy?
Fuck that game.
Oh, dude, that's one of the greatest party games of all time.
Dude, me and my cousins, one time, one of my cousins and I almost got into a fist fight over that game.
Dude, we used to play it at my friend's house after school when we were in high school, and like we would just play. There were like 3 specific games that we would play just like exclusively. It was the one where you're running up the ramp and you have to jump or duck, and then there was the one where you're in the giant like roll cage balls and you have to knock each other off the edge.
Yeah.
And like we all had our character that we would pick too, and like that was like the pinnacle of almost the pinnacle of gaming for me.
I just hope that like Xbox does it well enough to inspire PlayStation to do it even better.
Yeah.
And then I want PlayStation to inspire Nintendo to do it even better.
Yeah.
Because like if you want to know how much I would spend a month to be able to play any Nintendo game ever, it's a lot of money, bro. I mean, like, if they had their idea with, like, their virtual console or their backwards compatibility or streaming service or whatever they're going, works really well. if they just would add more titles. Like, if they would throw on NES, Super Nintendo, 64, GameCube. Could you imagine playing GameCube games on streaming? It's
Knockout
like this.
Kings, bro. Did you guys ever play Knockout Kings?
No.
Dude, I played fucking Knockout. And it's the weirdest games on the GameCube that really attracted me. I played that and, like, Def Jam Fight for New York.
You know what game I
Great
would
game
love
I've heard.
to revisit on the GameCube? It was their flagship horror game.
Eternal Darkness?
Yes.
That game
Holy
is a
shit.
fucking trip and a half.
That game.
The
was
way that
amazing.
game fucked with you was like Kojima levels
Yeah.
of trolling.
And
It
it's
was
like,
really cool.
nobody like expected it to be that big either. Because they're like, all right, we're gonna try and make this horror game, and I played through it and I was like,
Yeah.
You know what I want
I
to
need
play?
to go back to Smash.
You know what I want to play on any console, whoever brings it back? Fucking Jet Set Radio Future.
And you're not alone. There's a lot of people that really dig that game.
It's on Steam. I have it on Steam.
It's so... I love the fuck out of that game, dude. I'd
It's
spend
influential
hours
game.
making my fucking tag, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, why stop at GameCube? Put like Wii and Wii U titles on there too. Like,
Wait, what about some N64?
I said in 60.
Oh, did you? Oh, okay.
I mean, I won't leave that out.
Okay, good,
I mean,
good.
I got a fucking tattoo of my favorite N64 game. Like, I absolutely would love all of those titles on there. And like super niche titles too. Like, don't fuck around. Like, put everything on there.
Oh yeah.
Give me fucking No Mercy, bro, and I'll just
You know,
fine.
you know what? Give me some Clay Fighter.
Oh, Clay
Fucking
Fighter.
give me some Clay Fighter. Ooh.
Clay Fighter 63 1/3.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Anyways, yeah, nobody should be upset about Cyberpunk being delayed because it's just going to make it a better game. And that game looks fucking massive just looking at trailers for it. Like, they're going to need help. So I would imagine that... Just shut up. Just let people do it. Don't bitch about it. Which is funny because the backlash for this was not very big at all. Like, not nearly to the point where with Final Fantasy VII.
Well, people are
And that was only a month and a week.
people are starting to like understand. You know what I mean? Like,
You know, and I think we can thank Fallout 76 for that.
Yeah.
To a point.
Yeah.
At least
it's
somewhat,
one of the titles, yeah.
You know?
Well, and not only
Like,
that.
no, please finish your game. By
yeah,
all means.
Not only that, but like games like what the fuck is that? Anthem.
Oh, and WWE.
Yeah. A delay never hurts.
Mm-hmm.
It only hurts us momentarily.
Exactly.
And then we get a better title because of it.
Mm-hmm.
in other nerd news, Amazon passed on a series adaptation of the Dark Tower.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've been wanting the series so bad because first of all, nothing can be as abysmal as the movie, and so something has got to happen where the Dark Tower can be redeemed on some platform in some way or another. Mm-hmm. And I mean that's something I've always wanted to see happen, and have like a good, faithful, well done representation. Tilly agrees.
I'm sorry, my tummy was.
I'm hungry for the Dark Tower series. But no, like it needs to be done, and it needs to be done well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and not only that, like, you guys fucking deserve that. Like, it seems like a franchise or a... Fuck that shit off. It seems like something that you guys deserve. Like, as fans, he's like, he hit me. He hit me.
Did you see that shit?
Give me pets.
Did you see that
Call
shit?
DCFS.
Call the Humane Society. Where's Sarah McLachlan?
In the arms of the angel.
It just seems like you guys deserve this shit.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are a rabid fan base, and it seems like this shit is rife for
Oh yeah.
for expansion. It definitely seems so.
Yeah.
Did you see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood's getting a spin-off TV show?
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
And Quentin Tarantino's directing all of it.
Also, Disney drops the Fox name out of 20th Century
Yes.
Fox.
What the fuck? Why was that a thing?
I
Like,
know,
why
like,
is that
so
a thing?
now it's just 20th century?
No, it's 20th Century Studios
Oh, okay.
and slash Spotlight Entertainment.
So,
Oh, okay.
So they just Thanos snapped the Fox name out? Like, I don't understand. Like that's still a buzzword. Like like there's still people that go like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, Fox. It's a Fox thing.
But now, nope.
I guess the Fox says nothing.
I mean, I wish Disney would Thanos snap Fox News out of existence. That would be
know,
nice.
for
but
real.
guess that won't fucking happen.
So I have just a couple quick things. This one's more of a really, really funny story that I read. So there's a gentleman who was waiting for a flight in Portland, Oregon International Airport, and he just decided that he was going to plug his PlayStation into one of the monitors and play Apex Legends.
Fucking great.
That's wild.
I mean, you could have spent your time playing something else.
Yeah.
But I mean,
So,
we're being honest.
The TV that he used was it was showing a map of the airport for people. Just unplugged it. And then when security walked over and asked him to stop playing, he said very politely, asked if he can finish the match. Security denied his request and the man stopped his game. And the beginning, the title of the first words of the headline are: an actual Apex legend plugged his PS4 into a TV at this airport.
Oh,
My
geez.
KD, bro.
So that was like one of the better stories I read. And then the other one I had was we get Byleth and Smash.
This is mine. Yeah, this is what I wanted to talk about. Ho's mad.
Hoes are so mad.
Hose.
Really mad.
Hoes are
babe.
fuming.
Promiscuous woman is upset. I'll tell you what, boy.
Headline: promiscuous woman upset.
I didn't know Nelly Furtado was that big of a Smash
Yo,
player.
that's a great fucking song. You want to talk about one of the fucking greatest goddamn pop hits of all time? It's Promiscuous with Timbaland. I'll tell you fucking what.
Maybe we could keep it on the low.
So, I woke up to this news. I remember going to bed very excited. Like, I almost couldn't sleep because I was so fucking excited to see what this was going to be. And I woke up to a slight amount of disappointment until I saw how he plays. I think he looks like a lot of fun. I've seen like breakdowns from professional Smash players. Like I watched Zero talk about him, Alpha Rad. I've listened to them say like their piece about him, and they seem kind of like mid-tier at best, which, you know, we don't really know until we get get hands on him and see like how he actually feels. He's very slow. His mobility is really slow. So there's like a lot of points where Sakurai was, which is fucking a really great presentation. It was super tongue-in-cheek, and Sakurai is so fucking lovable. Like there's this moment when he's, it's after the announcement trailer, and Sakurai's like putting up the posters of the two characters because it's female and male.
Yeah.
And he does this like weird, like he's like bending over and he looks up at the camera and he smiles because he fucking knows. He fucking knows that people are gonna be super fucking upset over this. And he just like the level of like self-awareness is fucking awesome with him. So he seems a little tankish, which is weird. I still really, really hate that trailer. The trailer for Byleth is like really bad. The dialogue that's in it, like this is the second time that the voice actor for Morgana from Persona 5 has announced a Smash character and did a really way better job announcing Joker. This one is just super hammy and like it just feels just not like clear at all. Like they announce it and like immediately from the trailer you can tell, like if you've played Three Houses, you know immediately like okay, they're doing Byleth.
Yeah.
There was like maybe a tinge of hope that they were gonna do something like a little out there like Edelgard or maybe Claude or something, you know what I mean? Like maybe they'll do something, and then you started thinking about it. It's like of course it's fucking Byleth. Of course it's Byleth.
Yeah.
You know, so the trailer goes in and they announce it, and then like it has like kind of a piece where he's like fighting with the Sword of the Creator, which is fucking cool. It's basically a sword that turns into a whip. And then progressively they did a Mega Man. They did the same thing with the Mega Man trailer where it shows, so Mega Man games are known for being brutally fucking hard, and they get easier as the more you progress through the game because you get like Robot Masters and shit. So they kind of did the same template where they showed Byleth getting his fucking ass kicked by other sword users. And I love, again, touching upon that self-awareness. where it's like, oh, too many sword characters, you know, like that's one major complaint for Smash in general, is that there's too many anime sword boys in it, and they make fun of it in the trailer, which I really loved, and so his whole gimmick is not just swords. You get to use bows, lances, a bow, a lance, and an axe. And this is kind of where, like, the uniqueness is kind of there, but, like, not nearly to the degree where you saw with, like, Joker with his comeback mechanic with Arsene, or, like, even anywhere clear the mechanic with Hero, where his down B is, like, the input mechanic, or Terry with his, like, actual input controls where you can, like, actually do the inputs from his respective games and such. Like, this kind of just seems like more, hey, you know, it's just a character, you know, and we're making it unique. Like, they're kind of touching upon the criticism of other, you know, Fire Emblem characters because they're mostly just sword characters. I think he looks like a lot of fucking fun, personally. But my God, the backlash from this has been exponential.
The biggest, like, every group that I'm in, like, was just like, another Fire Emblem. I'm like,
so, but I kind of understand where they're coming from.
I do too,
though.
like, because
we've got Fire
Robin,
Emblem character.
Chrom,
we got Robin, Chrom, Roy, Marth,
Lucinda.
Corrin, Lucina. Fuck. And Ike. The fact that I have to, like, that I'm having trouble naming them off just goes to show that they're not really that fucking memorable.
Right.
Like, in fact, and I would go even to say that in the next Smash title, like the next Smash game proper, we're not gonna see, like, hardly any of these people. I would be shocked even if, like, Roy makes it into the next game. Like, I'm pretty sure Marth will get in, and then they'll announce, like, the newest Fire Emblem character.
I feel like Marth and Roy, they should at least be in it, like, both of them.
Yeah. I don't say Roy just because, like, he has been cut before, so I'm not sure. I don't know. It's not nearly. That's like the whole hose mad thing is fucking hilarious. Just because, like, you guys are bitching about stupid shit. But he comes out not this week but next week. I'm super excited to see. Not only that, we get Fire Emblem's fucking banger ass fucking soundtrack in Smash, which is fucking amazing.
It is.
That makes it worth the price of admission alone. So yeah, I don't know. I'm the more I watch him in motion, the more I am excited to play it as him. So for sure, he seems like he's got some wildly toxic fucking moves. Like, his up B is basically Joker's up B with the whip. So you can use that to, like, hang on to ledges and such. But, like, in the lower percentages, so, like, if you were to hit somebody with an up B, it basically is a meteor effect. It's a spike. So, like, if you get somebody off the stage and you hit him with the up B, it's a guaranteed. Like, he's fucking getting shot down in, you know, getting killed off stage.
That's crazy.
So I'm excited to see, and I can't wait to play, like, the first couple weeks of it, because it's gonna be so fucking broken. Because every Smash character when they come out brand new is so fucking broken. It's gonna be a ton of fucking fun for sure. So yes, I was 100% convinced it was gonna be Dante, just because, like, the way that the Smash Pass has been going is that it has been 100% third party. So nobody's expectations were on a first party character like Fire Emblem.
I saw a rumor leak that it was going to be possibly Travis Touchdown from No More Heroes.
Yeah, and I still feel like he's kind of, you know, like, he's possible.
Yeah.
The big thing at the end of the direct was, or presentation, was the fact that not only are they adding another Smash Pass with 5 more characters, but they're also adding a 6th character, so you're getting 6 instead of 5 this time. So there is hope for Sora. There's still the fire's burning. It's still not out.
We also got a bunch of skins for your, like, gunner characters.
Cuphead, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Cuphead and Mega Man and
Mega Man X.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed, the first assassin, Altair, is there. And then there was 1 or 2 other, but yeah, Cuphead's cool as fuck, because, like, the way that they, like, did his model is, you know, in Cuphead they did the finger guns, excuse me, which is pretty fucking cool. Just how they incorporated that in the Gunner, I think is cool.
So, our good friend Justin Peterson, well, I don't know how recently, but very recently.
Elaborate on the word good.
Our friend Justin Peterson, no, our good friend Justin Peterson, just shared an article that stated, and this is coming from the same sources who broke the news that there would be a She-Hulk Moon Knight.
I saw that like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
I know exactly where you're going.
Yeah, She-Hulk, Moon Knight, and Miss Marvel series are also now saying that Ronda Rousey is being eyed for She-Hulk.
I would dig that.
I personally would not, just because I cannot stand her acting.
Yeah.
Physically, would she be fine in the role? Yes, of course. But god damn it.
I mean, who did she play in Mortal Kombat? Sonya.
Oh yeah, those were some of the most
And her
deadpan.
WWE promos, good god.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, no, I can't. I just can't.
You're right. I rescind my statement.
She has a lot to prove.
Oh yeah,
That's for sure. I do feel like going into it, like that role fits. I feel like it could be a good pick. I just think that, yeah, I mean, like, I just have Vietnam flashbacks of how fucking bad she is in Mortal Kombat, so I'm, like, skeptical.
Yeah, hopefully
you know what
she's
I mean?
taken some acting classes. And,
well, I mean, she's had a lot of time off.
She has. She totally has. She's had time.
But, well, I guess it's on to the topic at hand. Before we talk about Civil War, we just wanted to let you know that you can subscribe to our Patreon for as little as $1 a month. You'll get a Nerd Corp sticker, and you can get our intro theme as a ringtone.
And you can touch Nick's pee-pee.
And you can touch Nick's pee-pee. I'm pretty sure he would
honestly, you could just do that.
You could just do that now.
Don't give away the goods for free.
Come on!
So patreon.com/nerdcorp podcast. If you don't have enough money for a monthly commitment, you can always donate to our PayPal, paypal.me/nerdcorp podcast. But on to Civil War.
Yes.
So Civil War was written by Mark Millar. He did Kingsman, The Secret Service, Kick-Ass, Wanted. And
he did the comic versions of these, or the novel
I believe he
versions,
did
or
the
movies?
I think he did both. Yeah.
Okay.
He also, of course, was the creator for Civil War and Old Man Logan. So, going into this, I just wanted to know, how did you guys feel about the story of it all?
I mean, I love the story. I mean, it's kind of like, not really an expansion, but sort of what happens down the line when you have people like the X-Men on one side who are trying to toe this line of, we want to make sure that mutants are safe and cared for, and then the people opposing that.
Yeah.
And, wanting to make sure they're safe, but not doing it in a very good way.
Right.
And
right.
so, but like, it
seems scummy.
It
seems scummy.
But in this case, even those waters are so much more murky just because of the events that led up to it. So, I mean, in this case, the opposing side doesn't really have a sinister reason behind what they're doing.
Right.
At all.
Right.
They're not doing this under the guise of, well, we want to make sure we're safe, but really they have these ulterior motives. Like, that really is truly their concern.
Right, because at the beginning of this 7-part story, because we only did the core story, there are 7 books to this core story. As far as the expansive universe is concerned, there are like 198 books.
Yeah, so, like, to give it just a little bit of more direct background, the 7-book series is Civil War.
Right.
Like, that's the core story.
That's
but,
like the movie part of it, is
Yeah.
as you would say.
But they have Civil War tie-ins through all of the other current books of the time, like all of the current different comic runs that are going on at the time, that can be pretty integral to the story. And so that's one of the only problems I had with busting through the 7 books is that, God, I really want to read the rest of it.
Yeah, I think it kind of adds, it really does add a lot to that story. If you want to read them, I really recommend that you do. Especially, I think the Spider-Man ones were one of my favorite ones. The Spider-Man one, the Daredevil ones, and the Fantastic Four ones were like some of my favorite Civil War tie-ins.
And of course, you can Google the books that are part of the Civil War series and get everything you need to not miss any of that.
So when I was reading through this, I pretty much, I wanted to have it in mind. So I pretty much just saved it for like almost an entire just like sit down. Like I almost read the entire thing in one sitting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
and like all 7 parts, which it's a very digestible read. It's not super long at all. Like you can get through it probably in like a good solid 30-40 minutes.
Oh yeah,
of reading. I drew a lot of similarities in the way that I felt to The Watchmen. I don't know if y'all can feel that, but like,
absolutely.
I definitely felt like this level of like. Because, like, superheroes have always been, like, on a different plane of existence. You know, like, in superhero stories and such and such.
Yeah, you're almost above reproach.
And it well, I mean, it just feels whimsical and fantastical.
Oh, sure.
And
okay.
like, and it just feels like it's not very, it's not grounded.
It's not,
you know what I mean?
Based in reality.
And The Watchmen was kind of, I mean, I'm speaking only upon the movie. I haven't read, like, any of the books or the comic books or whatever. Like, the movie seems like it was this really weird marriage of, you know, not only being whimsical and fantastical and, like, that nature of superheroes, but also like the grounded nature and like mixing, you know, like politics, and you put politics in anything and it gets a little dirty.
Well, and with Marvel, a lot of the time, you know, outside of this series, all of the grittier stuff, all of the more real world like consequences are usually reserved for like their street level quote unquote superheroes like Daredevil and Punisher and Luke Cage and that kind of thing. And here you see all of these things that normally the bigger main superheroes never have to worry about are now just slapping them in the face, and it's something that they now have to deal with.
Yeah, I did love the large amount of trepidation with certain superheroes where they're like, is this like really what we're gonna do now? Like, I don't want to fucking tell people where I live or like give them my name or anything like that. And that's why that moment that hit pretty hard for me was the press conference when Spider-Man reveals his secret identity. I just remember thinking like, oh, okay, this is a big deal.
Especially because throughout all of Spider-Man lore, that's one of the main stories. Like that's one of the main connections that you make to Spider-Man is him trying his hardest to make sure nothing happens to the people that he loves.
Yeah.
I loved Jameson's reaction to finding out that it's Peter Parker. I'm sad that they didn't like go
Expand
into
on
that.
Yeah, that would have been
That'd have been fucking
fun.
awesome to like see like you're fucking fired. You know what I mean? Like I think that would have been really cool.
I think he would have just been like, I think he might have also rejoiced like, oh, so now I can just get those pictures of Spider-Man, right? Like, you can just take them yourself.
Well, see, and that's the thing. I feel like, you know, as bristly as Jameson is and gruff, he I think he really cares a lot for Peter Parker. And so I think that's something that kind of would have tempered how he felt about Spider-Man, knowing now that it's this kid that he's taken under his wing, you know?
Yeah. And that's one of the more serious aspects of the story as well, is how fucked up Spider-Man gets at points. Like when he's down in the sewer and when he's on the run.
Oh yeah.
Not only did he just get fucking pelted with, I'm only assuming like rubber bullets at the top of Avengers Tower or whatever, and then he's like on the run inside the sewers, and then that's I don't know these villains, so it's Jack-O-Lantern and then one other one.
I forget who's that one.
Yeah,
But they fuck him up. They
yeah.
fuck him up, and like I thought it was kind of cool.
Hobgoblin, I think.
No,
it wasn't Hobgoblin.
no,
It was white and black.
Black Cat?
No. It was almost a goblin-like character.
Yeah.
And that was another turning point in the story as well, where I thought was compelling as well, where it was like, you know, Frank Castle shows up and he's holding this bloodied and bruised Spider-Man, and the whole reason why Frank Castle is joining the Resistance is like, hey, they're fucking using supervillains. Like, is this a line that we're willing to fucking cross nowadays? Like this, you know, and it paints a really dark picture for the Punisher. Like, I don't really know a lot. I know he's a gritty dude and he like actually kills people, and that's kind of why a lot of superheroes like look pretty down upon him. And like the way that they handle him in the story is kind of cool, because they're like, fuck this guy, like he fucking kills people, and then there's that one moment where he just like fucking unloads on villains that are just offering help.
I love that they entertain it at first. They're like, well, we need the fucking help, and you know, and then he just
quick fucking shot to him, just fucking annihilating these
and then
dudes.
Steve Rogers is like, all right, nope,
and he just kicks the fuck out of him.
Did you guys ever play the old Punisher game on PS2?
No.
Oh my god! Like, you had like it was like your typical like run and gun game, and then like you had these points where you were like interrogating people for information, and this one guy, you grab him and like, I can't remember the context of the mission, but you like shove him like underneath this giant drill bit, and you like push it down like right near his eye until he like talks. It was such a fucking dark game.
That's so gnarly.
Yeah.
Speaking on the political aspect, how did you guys feel that impacted the story?
Like, obviously, it is the story. I mean, that is the story.
It's almost like it can't. If you're gonna do that story, it's like it almost can't not be political.
Yeah, like
Absolutely.
it can't function without.
So
being...
it begins with this. They seem to be young superheroes that are trying to kind of cash in on fame.
Not that powerful, inexperienced, and they go after these villains who are heavy hitters, no fucks given, and that's what you get.
Well, and it ends up in a cataclysmic event that ends up with a lot
Kills
of
hundreds of
civilian
people.
death, and you know, they really push the point of children, as it happened like right outside of an
elementary school.
Yeah.
So like a lot of children died, and that's kind of the crux of the problem. And I did dig the social outrage of it, where it was like, of course people are going to be up in arms. Like, I feel like that's another thing that, like, and you know, this is just my personal ignorance on the fact, is like, civilians don't really get, like, of course a superhero's an entire gig is saving people, right? But I always feel like, you know, the civilian is kind of just like fodder. It's like, okay, you know, Spider-Man swings in, saves the civilian, pulls him out of a burning building.
Yeah, but it's about Spider-Man saving someone, not
yeah, exactly. It's over the idea that he's
yeah.
saving them, and that's what the story is. It has nothing to do with the people involved. And so that's kind of already you're ticking a box for me, where it's like, okay, now we've got actual human lives involved and such. And I think that the political drama in this is my favorite part of the entire thing. I was talking to Eddie about it, and I was like, this is strangely missing action. Like, a lot, there's like not nearly, like, there's obviously the two giant battles, the one where Goliath dies, and then obviously the ending battle. And that's pretty much it, like, besides like a couple of isolated incidents, and the majority of it is just like this really back and forth ferocious battle between Iron Man and Captain America. And I feel like I don't know why, and I might ruffle some feathers with this, but like Captain America seems like that, like, they're gonna take my guns and it's my civil liberty to, you know what I mean? Like,
but I mean, that's Captain America. Like, that's
exactly. And like, of course a person named Captain America would be like, you're taking away my rights, you know? And like, I don't know. It's really kind of interesting just to watch them go into this play-by-play of like, hey, you know, because revealing personal information of a hero is really fucking stupid. You know, like, that's why
Iron Man did it himself.
Yeah.
Like at a presentation. Like,
Right.
it's
Well,
like,
he's
hey,
also a
But I mean,
billionaire
like so.
Well,
that
yeah.
can afford security
One of
and
the
like
one of the biggest,
doesn't have any like super, you know, like I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep cutting you off, but like the Iron Man's kind of like an outlier because
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
a billionaire.
He doesn't have a family.
He has no family whatsoever. He's his own person, as opposed to someone like Spider-Man, who has an incredibly fell aunt and a wife, which is wild. He touched upon a girlfriend dying in this.
Yes, he talks about Gwen Stacy.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
So Gwen Stacy dies like pretty fucking horribly,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Her
Um,
neck
she,
And that's
snaps.
canon.
yeah, she
They showed it in
in the Amazing
the
Spider-Man
Amazing
2.
Spider-Man 2 when
Jesus
she's falling and he
Christ.
tries to
And
save
the
her
crack.
and
Yeah.
she
In, like, the movie?
whiplashes. Yeah,
No shit.
it's Emma Stone.
the one, the one with Andrew Garfield in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Good God.
she falls because the Green Goblin drops her,
Yeah.
and he goes to save her, but he ends up sticking onto her chest.
Yeah.
So when she snaps,
Oh,
so when she
God
falls,
damn.
so when it stops,
Yeah, that
she's
whiplash.
the whiplash and her neck breaks.
Well, and
Jesus
doesn't her
Christ.
head even hit the concrete?
Yeah,
as well?
yeah.
Christ alive.
Which when I first saw that, because I knew that she was going to be in it, and I was like, oh, we get the Gwen Stacy death story, and I didn't think they would show as much of it as they did. I was like,
Yeah,
I was in the
'cause
theater, I was in the
pretty-
theater, just like,
It was pretty morbid because she like snaps back, and
Yeah.
you hear and it just
So, and this is one of the most, for me, poignant things about the whole setup of Civil War is that 90% of all comics, DC, Marvel, anything, is this trope of my identity must remain secret or everything unravels.
that's how it's always been.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how it's always been. And this just went, yeah, you know what? That's not a thing anymore. Fuck you. And so it was just, that is a huge just upending thing for all of these heroes. Like there's not anyone that this would not just massively change everything they know about what they've been doing.
Yep. And the only people that have been out as far as superhero identities were Iron Man, Doctor Strange, the Fantastic Four. I mean, those are the only ones that people knew about, as far as the dual identities, which is why, Johnny Storm gets his ass kicked in front of that bar, because they know who he is. They've known for a while. But it's crazy to see that ire strike up in the public just like it would if this situation were actually happening.
Yeah, it lends itself to that grounded aspect of it, which I really like.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, that's just my biggest thing is like when you start incorporating like real world politics into it makes sense. And the way that like I love the way that people's what's the word I'm looking for? People's
Alignment?
yeah, like their grounds that they stand, like their side.
Their convictions.
Like waves a lot.
Oh yeah.
Especially with the woman from Fantastic Four.
Sue Storm.
Sue.
She's like, after Goliath is killed, she's like, "Fuck you
Oh
guys."
yeah, because I mean, how could that not affect you? Because like, yeah, I'm sure it was easy for the people who were stalwart to go, see, Goliath's death is on you guys because you guys are doing this, and you're not kowtowing to the government and doing all this stuff. Like I'm sure it's perfectly easy for them to kind of manipulate that experience and that issue to massage it to kind of the narrative they want, but still there's not a single person on either side that's not going to heavily affect.
And I'm not big, I don't get into like politics or anything like that, but it's like, it's very akin to when, everyone that's mutant has to get registered. It's very akin to when they all wanted like Muslims to like show that they were Muslim.
Yeah.
It's like the exact same thing.
Yeah, it is, and I think that's where it hits a lot, because in those situations, friends are against friends.
And the X-Men already dealt with mutant registration with Genosha and all that,
Mm-hmm.
and look how that went. That whole thing was just a ploy
Messy.
to eradicate the mutants.
And that's one of the reasons why they sat it out, was because you know what, like, we're not fucking dealing with this again. Like, this is not our
They
fight.
have their reasons.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And which is why they stayed Switzerland about it. They were just like, look, we're not going to join your fight, but we're not going to join theirs either. Like, we're just going to stay here. And it was the same when T'Challa did that in the beginning. Because he was just like, well, I have a country to look after. I have friends that I need to take care of as well. I'm running an entire... progressive country. I really can't get into this with you guys. I'm sorry. Namor as well. When Sue Storm went down to talk to Namor, and Namor was just like, you know what? That's y'all's bag. I have a
Yeah, but he's kind of more of a, but I kind of hate all of you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like, it's
So
very
speaking
disdainful.
upon that the wavering support and how people kind of jump from side to side, it kind of leads into my only negative that I have with the story, where I feel like Captain America is just kind of like, boom, gets punched in the face, and he's like, oh, what I'm doing is wrong.
Yeah.
It's so jarring. Like, it just comes
to a
in
complete halt.
It happens in like 2 fucking panels.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, and then he's like, give it up, boys.
Well, I mean,
And then Spider-Man's like, what the fuck? We were winning.
I got my ass kicked for this. Like,
Yeah.
I almost fucking died, bro.
Do you realize what I did for you?
I think it plays a lot into Captain America's character.
Yeah, I think you have to kind of think about what his internal monologue was in those few panels and leading up to it. Because, I mean, obviously, yes, it seemingly comes to a screeching halt and then just flip on a dime. But there's so much more going on.
And that makes sense.
You know.
Like thinking of it retrospectively, like, of course he would want to do something like that. I just wish that they went about it in a different way.
No, I got you.
Like, they just made it a little bit more organic. Like, because that climactic fight with Iron Man is really cool, and it just seems like it's that flow is just like, just stops, and it's like, oh, what I'm doing is bad.
Well, the way that I see it, it became fighting for a cause for Captain America in the beginning. Like, the first 3 or 4 issues, he's really believing that this is a bad cause and that he needs to fight it.
I mean, and it kind of is. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, it's
But toward the
super
end-
scummy.
Toward the end, it was, I want to win.
Yeah. Toward the end, it was more about him winning, and it was only until the civilians got involved and started holding him back and telling him, like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Look at what you're causing.
Yeah.
Where he was just like, holy shit. Like, yeah, you're right. Like,
Especially considering their relationship prior to Civil War, Iron Man and Captain America.
Yeah.
You know.
So, going into this, my question for you guys, because you guys have seen the movie, you guys have seen the Marvel movie, is, so where are the similarities, where are the differences, where, like, because they don't bomb a fucking elementary school in the movie, right?
No,
it's
There's something to do
Sokovia.
with
it's Sokovia.
the Winter Soldier, right? Like,
Yeah.
that seems to be, like, their, like, one side
The
is protecting
catalyst.
him, and the other side is trying to bring him to justice or something like that.
They're, like, the overall story is intact. As far as, like, the similarities between the comic and the movie.
And this is where Tom Holland's Spider-Man was first announced,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, they just use a different event to kick it off.
Yeah, they use a different event to kick it off. And it really is...
And it's not, like, as grand as other, like Fantastic Four's not there, Punisher's not there, like all these, like, massive fucking characters
Yeah,
are there.
I mean, I think that would have been too overwhelming, where those are characters who, for the general movie-going audience, have not been set up.
But I thought it was a positive for the comic, because it seems to be, like even I, like, have no fucking emotional attachment to any Marvel character whatsoever.
True.
I was still thinking, like, oh, that's kind of cool. It's just, like the name dropping, where it was like,
Yeah.
oh, you know, and, like the introduction of Spider-Man in the comics seems pretty cool. Like,
Right.
oh, fuck, he's here, you know, like...
Yeah.
Where the fuck was Hulk? Hulk wasn't in this at all. And what the fuck happened to Thor? Why was there a clone of Thor?
Was Hulk in space at this point?
I think Hulk's in space at this point.
I think he's in space.
Yeah.
So what the fuck is up with Thor and like a robot of Thor that kills Goliath?
So the only
murderous
thing
fucking
the
android.
only thing that I remember at this for this time period is Thor is missing. He's gone. No one knows where he is.
So how did they replicate a god of thunder?
Well, so in the actual story, they talk about the fact that Tony used a hair of Thor's that was he had saved.
They were commenting on how fucking weird it is.
Yeah, they're like, that's kind of creepy, right?
Yeah. So, and as far as like the movie's concerned, the movie's completely different.
Okay.
Like, but in a good way, like because. Fantastic Four is part of 20th Century Fox, and
of course,
you know what I mean, and
I'm not holding that against them,
right? Exactly.
I just think it's a positive of the comic where it's like, okay, all these things are kind of
I believe you mean
together.
20th Century Studios.
Yes, 20th Century Studios.
So is it not called Fox Searchlight anymore? It's just called Searchlight now.
So.
Searchlight Entertainment.
Jesus.
Lighthouse.
I did really think it was a cool moment when Hercules picks up Thor's fake hammer and like fucking bashes him in the head, and like the art for this thing is really good.
It's beautiful.
Which
really good.
Which brought me to my next question: is what you thought of the art?
Oh, it's fucking gorgeous.
It was garbage.
There's a ton of shit, and you know, like obviously I'm a fucking
Worst
weeb, and
art
ever.
I'm a weeb, and I like all kinds of different types of Japanese comic books and art and shit. But I feel like this is kind of like par for the course for like American comics, right? Like this is, I guess not par for the course, but like this is like top tier, right? Like,
oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. The artist is Stephen McNiven, and he did Ultimate Secret, New Avengers, Meridian. I mean, he's done a lot. The Amazing Spider-Man, Avengers vs. X-Men, Avengers Finale, Captain America Captain America Volume 6, number 1 through 5, Death of Wolverine, Marvel Knights, Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, he's one of the big wigs, you know what I mean? So it is definitely top tier art.
I did appreciate his appreciation for the female form.
Buttocks.
There were some
thick as fuck.
real tasty shots.
Some cake.
There was some cake with a lot of frosting. You know what I'm saying?
A motherfucking tiramisu, you know what I'm saying?
Tasty.
My compliments to the chef.
Damn, girl, she thick.
That's a thick ass girl.
I'm like, of course.
That's
of
a thick
course they
asshole.
would, for a fucking children's comic book.
But I mean, as far as the overall art, I mean, it
looks great.
It is very beautiful, very detailed. I really love the art in this series because it's a little more.
Well, it's got some of that darkness.
Yeah, it's really gritty. And, like, they're very... what am I trying to use? They're very...
It's not overly bright.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of hard angles and darker tones.
Well, I mean, like, and that speaks to, like, the scene with the funeral in the beginning when they're taught, and, like, the moment when... she's a reoccurring character, I'm pretty sure. She's kind of like the spokeswoman.
Yeah, she's the mom.
Is her name Miriam?
Miriam Sharp.
Yeah, she, like, goes up to Tony, because Tony obviously goes to the funeral because he fucking feels bad. And she, like, spits in his face and all this. Like, yeah, it's got a pretty dark, like, not only tone, but also, like, in the way that it portrays its characters. Yeah, I dig it a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Really
It's definitely very...
Yeah, the movie like gets the point across, but it's watered down.
Yeah, it is a bit.
I would prefer, you know, and going back to like my criticism of 2019's Modern Warfare, where, you know, I don't really know if people had a problem with what I was saying, but like the way that, like, if you imply death, it doesn't really hit as hard as like actually showing it. So like the way that they go about after the event where they're like, you know, going through and they're like going through the wreckage and trying to find survivors and shit, I found that to be a lot more compelling than protecting an enemy of the state, which seems to be what the movie went for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they nailed it. They nailed it for that for me.
I think it was very well done, very well written. I mean, it really brings out, like, every character they touched upon really brought out all of their own, you know, turmoil. You know what I mean? Like, every time they talked about Spider-Man, you knew exactly that it was Spider-Man. You related it to Spider-Man.
So this is canon, right? Like, this is like... So now, going forward, everybody knows that Spider-Man is Peter Parker?
Well, I mean, in that run, like, if they, you know, kind of start over...
I know that there's, like, alternate universes and shit like
that. Right.
So, and then...
but isn't there, like, a main line, though? Like, a main line of comics?
Yeah, I mean, well, and it kind of depends, because, like, you'll have several different Spider-Man books running at the same time that aren't necessarily in different universes. Like, you'll have The Amazing Spider-Man, you'll have, you know, several runs of a book, and they may not necessarily have the same events or the same background.
Yeah, there is no real main line. Like, their origin and their story stay the same sometimes.
Okay.
But if Mark Millar were to write something else, then it would follow his storyline.
So it's artist dependent.
Yeah. Okay. So, you know, but if, you know, somebody else were writing another comic book, if they wanted to, they could use that timeline, but usually they go for their own thing and they make up their own story.
Okay. That makes sense.
What was your favorite part of what were your favorite part? What were your guys' favorite parts? I had to figure that out. Thanks for coming on that ride with me, guys.
I mean, it was great. I didn't know where it was going. Like, I had no idea where we were going to end up.
I never know where it's going anymore.
Wild ride, 8 out of 10.
Go ahead. Who wants to go?
I have to think about it.
Oh.
Mine was that part where the villains come in and they're like, yeah, you know, we don't want to be in a police state, and fucking Punisher just eliminates them, and you know,
the whole bag.
Yeah, and then Captain America just beats the shit out of him, and he's like, why aren't you fighting me? He's like, I can't fight you.
Oh yeah, that was beautiful. Just that moment of like, no, I respect you too much. I can't fight you.
I won't fight you, which plays into that Punisher anatomy, you know what I mean? Because he never uses his gun for anything but bad people. You know what I mean? He never kills anybody that doesn't deserve it in his eyes.
Right.
I would say that my favorite part would be just the political drama in it. Like, I love the aspect of, like, they created this, like, fucking SWAT-esque team that would just go down and, like, hunt people down. Like, there's a scene, I don't know if it's like a memorable hero or whatever, but, like, there's a guy that, like, stops a burglar.
Oh yeah.
And then he's like, oh fuck, you know, and he's like on the run because he fucking prevented a crime. And he's on the run away from these people. I thought that shit was pretty cool. And just like...
That was the Young Avengers, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Just like the way that they like really stuck with like real world politics, I thought was pretty cool.
Right.
If I had to pick a favorite part, I love the moment when it seems like it's the first moment when Captain America defects and he's like, you know, talking to the head chick of this SWAT team, and he's like jumps out the fucking window, and he's like that really cool panel where he's like, it shows like different forms of him like dodging bullets with a shield, and then he lands on a fucking jet, and like I just thought it was pretty cool that he like, and he's like, he gets mad because the guy's like, Jesus Christ, and he's like, watch your fucking mouth.
Dude,
you know?
I love the way that comics show motion. It's really beautiful.
Well, and you can tell like there's like heart and soul into it. Like, I've read plenty of manga where like they don't do that at all. Like, they'll do it like panel by panel.
Right.
But like if you get something that's like really great, like Vinland Saga or Berserk, like you can tell like they have that same thing where they like can portray that motion in a still panel, which is fucking masterful.
Oh yeah.
Once you really think about it. And like I love the going into the right after he hijacks the fucking plane to get out, or the jet to get out of there, they're like in a room, like it's just a bunch of suits talking about how, like, what happened, and he's like, yeah, you fucking made him land in a football field and bought him a hamburger and fries and a shake afterwards. Like,
yeah, that's Cap.
like, fucking of course he would.
That's Cap.
I don't know. I really liked, like, all of the action moments in it. I thought that they were all pretty cool.
I mean, to me, that's one of the things that for me was pretty special about it, was that, yes, everyone is together and there's all of this group stuff going on, but in no way, shape, or form did anyone's own persona get washed out or left behind or even overlooked. Everyone was still Captain America was 100% Captain America. Spider-Man cracking puns.
I loved it, yeah.
You know, like
levity. There was some levity to it.
Yeah, like everyone just still, every single personality shined through beautifully.
Patriot was that kid.
Oh, yeah.
I
So
really,
it was Young Avengers.
Yeah.
I really liked the first battle, essentially, the one where Goliath got killed, where Iron Man is just beating the holy fuck out of Captain America, and he's like, you can't really do anything because, like, this suit has seen every punch that you've ever thrown, so, like, you know, you're not gonna hit me. And then, like, I liked the little back and forth that they had at the end battle when, I don't know who it was, but, like, somebody fucked with his suit. You know
It was Vision.
Yeah. Yeah, he stuck his hand in there and basically kind of shorted out his suit.
And so now it was like a fair fight. Yeah, I thought that shit was pretty cool.
It was definitely good. Another one of my favorite parts was actually the beginning, just that whole introductory part where not the Young Avengers, but what are they called?
I forget.
I forget what they're called too. But when the young group,
it's like a TV show.
Yeah,
they're like cashing
TV
in
guys,
on
yeah.
It's almost kind of shady. It's
like,
and they're all talking
super
about
shady.
how, like, it's not a big fucking deal. Just fucking do it. Like, we're gonna get great ratings and shit.
yeah, and so you know what I mean, and you know they run into that group, and you know they run into Nova, which is the character that did all of that. Civil War Wolverine. Wolverine goes on this just rampage and is just like, I'm going to kill that man.
Really?
Yeah, and just goes off on this, like...
So that's why he's not in the comic, like, at all.
Yeah.
I thought his name was Nitro.
Maybe.
Was it the guy that, like, actually ignites the bomb that kills?
Yeah, I think it is Nitro.
I'm pretty sure... I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure his name is Nitro.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure his name is Nitro, too. No.
So who's that fucking guy? The guy that's like the seeker?
Uatu, the Watcher.
Oh yeah, Uatu, yeah.
Okay.
So what he is responsible for the entirety of space and time.
Okay.
But he cannot meddle in the affairs of anything.
Because there's a moment
they're basically observers and recorders.
So he's the guy that's like talking shit to Doctor Strange, like. Because Doctor Strange is sitting there, like, meditating, I think, in Antarctica or something like that. And he's, like, sitting there saying, like, well, why don't you do anything about it? And he's like, well, I can't. I'm like you. Like, I can't really do that. Like,
and Uatu has done a few things in the past. He's broken rules.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Yeah.
Which, technically, I think him trying to, you know, influence him to do something, Doctor Strange to do something, I feel like that's even going beyond the scope of what a Watcher is allowed to do.
Okay.
Hold on, I'm looking for it.
And that's who Stan Lee is kind of representing when he's on the little planet with the other Watchers.
Yeah.
Like if I remember right, I think that was confirmed that he's supposed to represent Uatu.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Which is why he has all those cameos in all of the movies, because he's there watching.
That's pretty fucking cool.
Right?
Yeah, that continuity aspect.
I love that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So, I don't remember, but Mark Millar's writing. Like, what did you guys? How did you guys feel about just the story in general?
And comic books have always I haven't read a ton, but like from what I have read, Like, it's never been like a bad read or just like, oh, I don't know what he's trying to get across, you know? Like, it's all, and I did read a little bit because I downloaded, I downloaded this on my computer, so I was looking through it on my computer, and I thought it was like, it was really good. It was like filling in what you didn't see in the movie.
Right,
like,
exactly. I think that they should have used this intro. I think they should have used the kids.
It's much more serious.
Yeah,
it's more compelling. It really smacks you in the face hard because, like, the movie, you know, like you were saying, Cole, with the White Wolf, Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
With Winter Soldier,
The White Wolf.
well, no, that's what.
Wolf.
That's what he is.
Since when the fuck is the Witcher in the Marvel
universe? No, that's what he is in one of the movies, though.
Yeah.
Civil War, huh?
But
fuck.
in Black Panther, that was the end of Black Panther, or was that? Anyway.
I think so.
But yeah, I mean, that's the thing about using him as the catalyst for everything is that you understand why he's so important to both sides. You know, he's important as a symbol for Tony's side because, you know, this needs to be dealt with. It needs to be
bring him to justice.
Brought, yeah, exactly. And then you also understand why he's so important to Captain America. This is his childhood friend, and he knows that that's not really what happened, but, you know.
Yeah, I don't like that as much.
Yeah.
I don't like that as much.
But that's, I mean, and that's fine and dandy, like, you understand it. But that's not compelling to you. That's only compelling to the two people who are the heads of what's going on, what's involved.
And there's like that blind loyalty between the two.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just following Iron Man because, you know,
yeah, exactly.
he's my friend.
So it's not as important to the viewer as you understand it to be, but still, it's not as important to you as it is to the two people involved. And so there's not a universal appeal I as much.
So
I agree.
With the writing, I feel like it kind of does its job. Like I feel like, and that could be, you know, seen as a negative, and I don't think it's a negative at all. I just think that, like, these writers know who they're writing for, and that's why I feel like the political aspects of this is my favorite. It's because I don't think I've really ever seen anything like this outside of, like, you know, like The Watchmen, where I feel like superhero plots don't really go that deep.
You should,
like, really
you should
at
read
all.
some X-Men.
Yeah, X-Men always.
And, you know, going back to our X-Men episode, like, even just watching the cartoon, like, they definitely go
absolutely.
into some, and I feel like that was more of like a tangentially telling the story of, like, almost kind of like segregation.
Yeah, no, that was
And
the
like,
whole point. That was Stan Lee's whole point.
And so, like, going into it with that idea, like, of course that's going to be a little bit more complex than something like Spider-Man, where it's just like, okay, teenage kid, you know, he's got a life, he lives in New York, it's a, you know, super bustling city, and it's super, you know, moving and everything, and, like, he's got people that he cares about, but it's really just, like, that's kind of it. Like, I feel like superhero stories are more or less just, like, you know, I don't really want to say one note, because it's not. I feel like it would be disingenuous to say that, but, like, it just kind of just feels like that's it. You know what I mean? Like, there's just, like, there's that, it's good versus evil, and that's pretty much it. And it sells. Like, that's what these things are made for. They're for, you know,
and
children,
that's
young
why
adults.
they're relatively short, to the point, flashy. Yeah.
Not that expensive. Yeah, stuff like that. Like, I feel like it's just, and that's kind of my worldview of superhero stories in general. That's why this was a pleasant surprise, and I feel like why stories like this and The Watchmen really resonate with older viewers, just because, like, there is complexity in these themes and these ideas that are being brought to the table.
Yeah, and that was one of my other favorite things about going through this was not anything specific to the series itself, but what the series made me do.
Yeah.
Like, as I'm reading it, just sitting there, taking a step back and kind of digesting it, and and really kind of thinking about, man, how would I deal with something like this? Like, what would I do?
Absolutely.
Just internalizing that and really.
Well, I mean, there's a large amount of like sympathizing with both sides.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Where it's like, okay, I mean, obviously something needs to be done, but the way that Tony's going about it, I feel like Tony in this book is a fucking scummy character. Like, that's just how I feel. Like, just, like, reading and watching, like, it doesn't, like, it's not really Iron Man. Like, it feels like there's someone else at the helm.
Well,
you know what I mean?
It's
like,
heel Tony.
But see, that's the thing. In comics, you definitely get a much bigger view of the characters. The Iron Man has been so bad at so many points. He's been a raging alcoholic. He's been abusive. Yeah. Ant-Man, same thing. Like, that's the thing about the comics that you really don't get in the movies. Because the movies, of course, like, that's your protagonist. They've got to be, perfect and
put them up on a pedestal,
above reproach, and because otherwise it just doesn't sell as well. The concept doesn't sell as well. But yeah, with comic books, there are very few heroes who are not flawed.
Yeah.
Because that's what makes them compelling. Like Spider-Man, if he didn't have the same issues as a teenaged person, what the fuck is a teenage person going to care about Spider-Man then?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's something that makes them more real and tangible as something that you want to look into and read and be entertained by.
Okay.
Like, that's why people give Superman shit.
Yeah, because he's the
one note.
Yeah,
He's the most one note fucking superhero in existence, and I still haven't found any good Superman stories.
I mean, the death of Superman and the reign of the Supermen was pretty cool.
Yeah, Superman was great.
That's because he died.
And as far as the duality of it all, that leads to the last question is. And I'm pretty sure it's unanimous, but which side are you on?
See, that's what I wanted to ask too.
Yeah.
I don't know. In the world that we live in today, where we're seeing outrage, what it feels like every other day on different topics, it's hard to be a little polarized. I feel like this is a story, because this had to have been like, what, early 2000s?
It was like 2005,
I think 2007, if I'm
not
mistaken.
During that time period, we're in the Bush administration. We're talking about, like going to Iraq and all this stuff. And,
yeah, 2006 to 2007.
So, I was just a dumb kid at that time point, so I don't really know much about it.
Now I'm just a dumb adult.
Exactly. I don't know. I feel like this story's kind of ahead of its own time, because these are issues, and like the way that we deal with today and the way that they go about telling them, I feel like makes more sense in today's age, just because, like I said, we're dealing with outrage on any other fucking thing every other day. It would, what feels like every day. So it's like,
put yourself like now. If let's say you were a superhero, shit like this went down, whose side are you on?
Well, I think I'd be more on the spectrum of like realigning with Captain America, just because like I feel like we're so quick nowadays to just write things off, and we're getting to a dangerous point where I feel like we're getting to the point where we're writing off things that we shouldn't be writing off at all, like rights. Like,
well, we're so quick to overcorrect. Like, when we find a problem, we go, great, let's completely eradicate anything that could ever even remotely come close to looking like this.
Yeah, and I feel like that's kind of where Tony Stark, where I feel like he's kind of scummy in this book, is because these books rather, is because it just feels like it's a catch-all for a problem that's much more complex, and I feel like that's definitely something that we deal with in everyday life, because like so many people want to just say like, oh, let's just do this and then fix it, that'll fix it, take away all the guns and it'll fix everything,
right?
As if people don't illegally get guns, or the fact that there's, you know, more fucking guns in this country than there are people. You know what I mean? Like, there's these issues are super complex, and there's no one thing. And that's why I've aligned with Captain America more, is just because I feel like Tony's idea is just so one note.
It's minute compared to what the problem really is.
It's such a catch-all problem, or such a catch-all solution for a very, very complex situation.
I completely agree with you. As far as your view on it, I also agree with that. Adding to that, I have a family. I have a wife. I have children. Mm-hmm. If I'm a superhero, I'm going to want to protect them as much as possible, and that includes keeping my identity a secret. Superheroes, like Derek has said, are above reproach, are above the law. For that reason, is because they have, at the risk of sounding cliche, they have these powers that come with a responsibility. You fight these people for nothing. You don't get paid for this. You don't do it for that reason. You do it because you feel like it's your responsibility to do this. Mm-hmm. And with that registration, I completely throw that out the window. And then all of a sudden, my wife, my children, my family is in danger. Mm-hmm. Because the moment I'm registered, what's to say some, technopath villain can't just hack the registration and get everybody's names.
Yep. True that.
Yeah, I kind of just would definitely agree with those. Like, if I'm in the shoes there, I wouldn't want to be registered and outed just because of the whole. Because I don't have I have my family, but I don't have like a wife or kids or anything like that. But
you have people that you want to protect,
and if I was like a double identity superhero, I would still want to try and live my regular life in secret, and maybe you meet somebody, and if like you're not gonna meet somebody if they know who you are. Like everyone's just gonna be 30 feet away from you.
Right, exactly.
Then there's that moment when it's like right after Spider-Man reveals his identity.
Yeah.
That Iron Man comes up to him and, again, seeming super scummy, he looks at him and he's like, "You're fucking more popular than Elvis now." Like...
Yeah, just trying to, hype him up.
Yeah. Chick wants your dick now. You know what I mean? Like... Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then, so, if you're registered, then, you literally have nothing... everyone's gonna know where you are, because nothing's gonna stop the villains from finding out where you are and destroying you.
And yeah, exactly. What's gonna happen? You're never gonna have a moment where you can possibly be at peace or feel comfortable in relaxing for even a second, because you never fucking know. People know your name. They know how to find you. Anything could come at any moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Let alone the people that you care about.
Yeah.
Well, it's unanimous. We're part of the resistance. That concludes our time with Marvel's Civil War. If you haven't read it yet, please do so. You will have a hell of a time. Just like Cole said, it is digestible. 30-40 minutes of reading tops.
Watch the comic. Don't read the movie, or don't watch the movie.
Watch the comic, don't read the movie.
Did I say? Read the comic, don't watch. I mean, if you want, that's how I feel.
I would say, read the comic and then watch the movie.
Yeah.
Because if you
get those cool moments.
Yeah, and it gives you a bit more context, and,
It really does. So, as always, you can follow us on social media.
On Facebook at the Nerd Corporation, a podcast.
On Twitter and Instagram at Nerdcore Podcast.
Or you can shoot us an email at nerdcorppodcast@gmail.com.
And if you want to read more comics with us, subscribe to our Patreon. Patreon.com/nerdcorppodcast. Several tiers of loot to have access to, from stickers and shirts to extra content and bonus episodes. Tune in next week when we will be covering the Royal Rumble 2020. Or as I'm going to call it, the Brock Lesnar Show.
Our royal comeback, talking about wrestling shit.
Question of the week: who do you have for the men's and women's Royal Rumble? I'm sorry I didn't post a question of the week to the Facebook page due to who I am as a person. So this time I promise that I will. But question of the week, we'll read your questions off on the next episode. As always, well, I did that already.
As always, we'll start on over.
For the Nerd Corporation, my name is Eddie Lyon.
I'm Cole Hell Hydra Simper.
I'm Nick Lewis.
And I'm Hot Hands McGee.
Derek Reese.
Derek Reese.
Yes, that too. Only on Wednesdays.
Wherever you are, whenever you are, thanks for the vibes, guys.
That's good. I like that. It's a hell of a lot better than Peace on the Midday.